The first time I was told that I had cancer was right after my surgery. The doctor actually came in and told me, so I was a little bit loopy still, but yeah, I was very surprised, but never once have I been worried. I've always known that God's got it in control. It's all part of His plan.
He's one of the toughest young men I've ever seen when it comes to just being relentless. That I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm not going to let this get me down. And even the days I'm sure that he has felt so poorly and just don't feel good, he doesn't let any of his teammates see that.
As a 17-year-old, he's went through things that most 17-year-olds have never been through and should never have to go through, but the way he's handled it with such a determination and a fight within himself to never give up. And not once through this diagnosis, almost a year and a half now, has he ever been worried or scared or wanted to quit or give up. He keeps fighting, and when he was diagnosed with a relapse, he was, well, I beat it the first time, I'll beat it like once again. Just because of his determination, his willpower, and his fight on attitude and spirit has really, I think, made me a better person and helped me through some things in life to not give up and to keep pushing forward no matter what life throws at you.
Landon Hagwood is a senior football player at Oconee County High School on the eastern side of Atlanta and has been in the middle of a battle with Ewing sarcoma for the last 2 years. But while the battle's been up and down, Landon's the one that's been steadily reassuring all the people close to him that he's okay through his faith and his trust in his support system.
He doesn't fear much of anything in life, and he has the biggest heart and the biggest faith of anybody that I know.
In the fall of 2019, on the first play of the first game of his sophomore year, Landon injured his shoulder. While the situation looked to be a common dislocation, scans showed a growth in his shoulder, which was eventually tested and found to be malignant.
He started chemotherapy. He had his port put in, his second surgery after the biopsy. His port was put in, and he started chemo on the same day, and that was October 23rd of 2019. And it was over the course of the next almost 9 months, 7 to 9 months, I guess, that he did 14 rounds of frontline chemotherapy treatment.
While most teenagers would be focusing on their own battle with this brutal disease, Landon looked outward and discovered a need within the hospital that he wanted to help with.
Landon, from minute one, was constantly looking for ways that he felt he could help. And one of the things that he harnessed on was the fact that a lot of times the hospital is geared for little kids. So they have all the amazing carts and fun things and bubbles and stickers. But for kids his age, there really wasn't a lot going on. And we'd had these conversations, and then all of a sudden, it was like probably around October, one night his nurse was telling him something about pajamas. He had just been sick as a result of treatment. And she was like, Landon, I don't have any extra pajamas, so you're gonna have to be, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna have to do this. And it just was a conversation, and come to find out, Landon learned that not only do they not have a lot of pajamas on hand, but they had 0 on their shelves for kids that were larger sizes like him, like Landon, 15, 16, 17-year-old big football player boys.
Some kids go there for appointments, and they're not expecting to stay. And some of them, sometimes you might stay a night, you might stay a week, you might stay a month. And pajamas are a big deal. If you don't have clean clothes and pajamas, it's a hard thing to do. And so I just felt, that's a pretty easy thing to start off with helping. And I just felt like, our community could definitely help out Choa with the pajamas. And they did. It was awesome.
And we ended up contributing almost, I think, 400 or right over 400 pairs of pajamas to Eggleston. And we kept going. It was like every time we would go to the hospital for about 3 months, I was coming in with bags like, hey guys, somebody else dropped more pajamas off. And they were just so overwhelmed and appreciative of that.
After thinking he was cancer-free, at Landon's 9-month scan, the doctors found another malignant spot in his shoulder while draining a pocket of fluid. This meant Landon's treatment had to resume.
Everybody in the building was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, after all he's been through and what a great attitude and how he handled it, he's starting over, and then also he had gotten to get back out on the field, and he was practicing, and he had had some contact, and And then it wasn't just a couple of days after that he found out, something was going on, and they went and checked him, and they found out that it was back. So that was somewhat devastating to all of us to have to watch him have to start over and go through it again.
While Landon's fight resumes, he holds fast to the positive attitude that's made him so unique for a kid in his situation. All the treatments he's had leading up to the shooting of these interviews have been increasingly encouraging, and Landon's family is confident that he will win his battle with cancer.
He relapsed at a year. Just a 1 year scan, Landon relapsed, and we found he had cancer again. So we had scans last week, which has been 5 months after his relapse, and all the scans were clear. So our prayer for Landon is that there's no more cancer in his body. As of right now, he is cancer free. Our prayer is that there's no more cancer to ever come back. We believe that God has healed him and used the doctors and the nurses for treatments and things of that nature. So I think the future for Landon is very bright.
It's the same as the first time. I'm not worried at all. I know God. It's all part of God's plan. We got good scan results a couple weeks ago too, so that helps a lot too. But just knowing that the doctors are going to do what's best for me, and that it's all part of God's plan, and I know I'm going to be all right in the end.